And good morning, everybody. We are live. Congratulations. You made it through the week. Another week of amazing food safety, food quality, fantastic products. And with that comes a lot of responsibility and not a lot of recognition. So we're here today to say thank you. We appreciate all that you do. Welcome to the chat. My name is Bryan Armentrout, who is currently here by himself. So we'll see if our guest is able to attend here. We may be having some technical difficulties going on here, not quite sure or not. But either way, this is the chat, and every day, unless I'm off doing something else, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, we broadcast live on LinkedIn and YouTube at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we talk for about an hour on a food safety topic. Good morning, Jordan from Atlanta. Nice to see you. I am, of course, in Loveland, Colorado, where it's going to be a beautiful day here this morning. I think, what are they saying? So the high is going to be in the mid 70s, nothing but sunshine. We had a little bit of rain a couple days ago, so it's going to be absolutely gorgeous outside. So you can't fault that at all. So our guest today is a really special guest who is calling in at a very odd time for him. And so I greatly appreciate that. So I'm going to keep an eye here and see if he is able to attend. If not, we'll just take it from there. We'll see what's going on. So in the meantime, as Jordan is done here, throw in the chat where you're at in the world. And so part of that in the world piece of that is where was I? Because normally if you're a regular here on the chat, you know that I'm here every Friday pretty much. But once a year, I like to download and take a break and get out and see the world a little bit. So my wife and I went to New Zealand for 3 weeks and toured the South Island. We drove close to 3,500 kilometers, which is over 2,100 miles, like 2,150 in a tiny little Mazda 2 rental car. And greetings from Clemson on vacation. Nice. Hope you're having a good time. LinkedIn user. Can't see your name. But we saw some amazing stuff down there. Now, was this trip all fun? No, it wasn't. I was able to meet up with someone who everybody here on LinkedIn, if you work in food safety, knows, who owns a company in New Zealand. That's a hint. And we had a nice conversation about his business and what they do. And so I'll be posting that hopefully shortly once we get the video edited and put together. And then we'll be talking about that as well, too. Let me do a check here and see if Peter has emailed me. No, he has not. I bet he's having massive technical difficulties. Yeah, New Zealand. If you haven't been to New Zealand, number one, 3 weeks. Why 3 weeks? Well, that's Jose on vacation. Nice. Takes a while to get there, right? So from Denver, you fly to LA, San Francisco, or I believe they fly out of Houston. So he flew Air New Zealand down to Auckland. Then it's another 2-hour flight down to Queenstown, which was our base of operations, and then we did a big loop around the island. We had been there previously and saw the western side of the South Island of the Southern Alps, which are absolutely amazing. And it takes a while to adjust. So the time differential for New Zealand is the easiest way to figure it out is plus 6. So there it's going to be -6 and then 12 hours. So 8 in the morning here is early in the morning. So it's 1 a.m. there tomorrow. So it takes a while to adjust when you come back. So this week has kind of been an adjustment week for me because when you get to evening here in the US, so you reverse that process, you get toward the evening, it's not easy to wake up. That's for sure. So with this, hopefully Peter's able to join. This is very surprising. I'm imagining that he's got some serious technical difficulties going on here. So enough about me on that side, right? I'm very fortunate to be able to get to do those things and meet with these different people for sure. It's one of the things that my wife and I, we love to do. We love to travel. So Peter's got an amazing article he put together on LinkedIn on compliance, which is our topic for here today. If he's not able to attend, we'll just roll this into a later conversation with Peter because it's definitely worth talking about. So back to the time differential, Peter is based in Sydney, Australia. So for him, it's an 8-hour differential. It's midnight going into Saturday for him. So hopefully he didn't forget to set the alarm clock, although he did email me earlier. So hopefully things go right on that side. let me do some additional checking here. So one of the things, no emails. So one of the things you may be wondering is how in the world did we meet? And this is kind of the cool thing with food safety is when you go to conferences, you get to meet all cool people. And Peter used to come in and present awards at SQF for a company he was with prior, and he would fly in just for these conferences and do these activities. Um, and that's how we met through SQF, which was pretty cool. What are yeah, let's get these questions going here. Give me a little things to talk about as we wait for Peter. What are dairy products like in New Zealand? Fantastic. Um, by the way, if you've never had meat pies, it's kind of like their fast food, but 10 times better. So think of here in the US like a chicken pot pie if you've ever had those before. So kind of a little pastry type dish, a little mini pie, and they stuff them with different things. So beef mince is very popular. You can do chicken dishes, and then there's a light gravy sauce. So I tried one of the last ones I had. There was a venison with a plum sauce. Oh, so good. And the exchange rate in New Zealand right now is really awesome too. So it's about 58 cents to the dollar. So $1 in New Zealand is 58 cents here. So you can have a lot of your dollar stretches quite a ways down there. So in $8 New Zealand was what a pie cost. So it was like around $5 for us. So it was a heck of a lot better than a burger. But back to the dairy question, Fonterra, of course, is a huge cooperative. So think of like dairy farmers in America. Fonterra is one of the larger co-ops in New Zealand for dairy products. So a lot of the dairy products are manufactured on the South Island, and I drove by at least 3 drying plants that I kind of was craning my neck, and my wife was wondering what I was doing as we were driving by. I would have loved to have stopped in and toured them and said hello. But lots of sheep on the South Island, lots of cows. There's more sheep in New Zealand than there are people, which was really, really cool. At one point, we made it down on the South Island to a point called Slope Point, which is the southernmost part on the southern island. So at that point, we were closer to Antarctica than we were to the equator. I think at one point I calculated at that point it's almost 9,000 miles from that point to Loveland, which is crazy. But New Zealand, if you go to Costco, they import butter. Um, Big product. They do a lot of non-fat, dry, and sprayed milks that they export around the world. Um, Huge importer to the US. So there was a lot of concern down there about the tariffs and what's going on with that. So we'll see what's happening on that side. Um, so yeah, lots of things going on with that. What was really cool too is you could see the differences in the industry as you're driving around. Normally in the US, if you're in a industrial area, who producing like so here in Colorado, Greeley, Colorado has a lot of beef production feedlots, right? Big feedlots where the cows are. Colorado's very dry, not a lot of pasture, so that's how they feed the animals. New Zealand, it's all pasture. Everywhere you go, there's no feedlots. Everything is grass fed, and you can definitely taste it. Yeah, meat pies. So Jordan had Jamaican meat pies. Those sound awesome. Um, yes, butters, hot meat pies in Britain and Scotland. Yes, meat pies. My wife has actually vowed she's going to figure out how to make them. They don't look super hard, kind of a puff pastry crust that you would put around the outside. I think probably the more challenging part, right, is getting the internal part of it right with the ingredients for that. One of the pies I didn't try down there because it was at breakfast because they eat these for all their meals. Was a seafood pie. So it was like contains mussels and squid and all kinds of stuff that you would expect for a seafaring country like that. But yeah, I wasn't quite brave enough to try that. So yeah, the trip was fantastic, and I'll give more details when the interview comes out as well. So with our topic today around compliance, Peter's very involved around the world internationally with compliance. So he's got some really cool things to say. I don't want to give away the show here, but we'll give Peter one more minute. Then we're just going to have to assume that this isn't going to work today. And kind of weird because in the 4 years of doing the chat, and this is episode 225, this is the first time I think where we haven't had a chat go forward. So everybody, I apologize for that. But as everybody knows, sometimes the technical side of things doesn't quite cooperate. So Peter's extremely professional. So I know there's an issue on his side. So hopefully we can get that resolved and then redo the chat and get him back on here at some point in the future. But doesn't look like it's going to happen today. But what I do want to leave with everybody here from the chat is an article he put on LinkedIn here recently around compliance and what he's seeing in that. So I'm putting that here in the chat so that you can check out that article. Really timely for what we've been talking about. And one of the things that we've been focusing a lot here on the chat is compliance. And do audits help you with compliance? Yes. Are audits all you need for compliance? Nope, not even close. We just all know this from a common sense standpoint in life. If that was true, nobody would speed. Everybody would stop at stoplights. We know the rules, but do we choose to be compliant? That's always the human side of things, which I think is very important. Um, Yeah, so yeah, maybe we can join on LinkedIn or YouTube. Yeah, the link that we use here on StreamYard is the same for both. So when we live stream, they're both the same, Jordan. So it's got to be something technically happening on his side. So maybe the internet's down, because I'd sent him a couple of messages and he didn't respond to those. And I resent him the link this morning and he said thanks. So he was aware. So I'm sure that's what it is. Hi, Mohammed from Egypt. Egypt's a country I haven't been to. Love to visit Egypt. Of course, going and seeing the Nile and all the cool things there in Alexandria, and of course, the pyramids. And yeah, how can you not see those type of things? So hopefully I'll be able to get over that on one of my trips in the future. But looks like, guys, we're not going to have a chat today. I apologize. But as we know, things happen in the world. And one of the things that we're good at in food safety is adapting and going with the flow and getting things done anyway. So a good way to think of this is you're getting an hour back to be productive and do additional things here within your Friday, and hopefully make it a productive one. But we'll be back here next Friday, and I'll have a guest on for the show at the same time. So 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, where we do live stream on LinkedIn and YouTube at that time. And we'll discuss all things food safety. But in the meantime, enjoy yourselves. We'll be giving some additional information on the trip, and the interview is coming up here probably next week. Greatest scuba diving is in Egypt. Wow. I'm getting very tempted by Egypt now for sure. But everybody, enjoy your day. Have a good one. I apologize again. Don't mean to waste your time. We are all busy people and nobody likes that. So again, apologies for that on my side. But we'll join you here next week and we'll restart again, and we'll see you then. In the meantime, have a great weekend, everybody.